You're listening to the Artist King podcast.
I am your host, DTM, of DeltaTangoMike.com, and this is the Artist King Podcast, episode 38. A special shout out to Mex Manny Beats and Southside Sickest for the official Artist King Podcast theme music. Check them out on Twitter.com and SoundCloud.com, Mex Manny Beats. Level up your art life in 2015. Check out the upcoming events, classes, meetups, workshops, and resources at Artist. This episode, we feature a conversation with Mr. Rick Clear, a longtime video media teacher, now semi-retired and living the art life. Mr. Rick visited Atlanta and decided to retire and enjoy the city, but instead has taken the lead in producing video projects for the city of Atlanta, BuyAVette TV, Chic Fil A, and more. Needless to say, Mr. Rick never fully retired. He loves what he does, and that fuels a desire to create. Check out more of Mr. Rick's Atlanta and Indiana adventures by connecting with him on Facebook and YouTube at facebook.com/rick.clear. A special thanks to our sponsors, the law offices of Deborah Gonzalez Esquire, VelocityScreenPrint.net, RevolveSkate.com, Lucom.com, and Denominator Graphics. We want to send out a special shout out to Old Hub at Giant for sponsoring the upcoming that start up again February 16th. It's a free meetup, so I hope to see you there. Now on to the Artist King Podcast artist interview with Rick Clear. Welcome to another edition of the Artist King Podcast, and today we have Rick Clear. How you doing, Rick?
Fine. It's great to be with you today. It really is. It really is, Daniel.
Thank you for spending time with us. Please tell our listeners where you're from and what do you do?
I am Rick Clear. I am from a small town in central Indiana. In fact, the little town sits right on the Indiana-Ohio state line. Mm. Half the community is in Indiana, half of it's in Ohio. Kind of a unique experience, especially when we have two time zones through the middle of the town. That's really unique. You know, 2 city councils, 2 fire departments, 2 school corporations. It's a whole nother story to itself. But I taught school there for 33 years, video production. Our students ran the community access facilities, and I retired from that and moved to Atlanta.
Okay.
2 years ago, so.
Wow. 33 years.
33 years, yes.
On purpose?
No, by accident, believe me. No.
So how'd you get into video production? What was that like? Because 33 years ago was in the 80s?
Oh, well, yes, the program that I taught actually started when I was in high school. I graduated in 1972.
Okay.
And it just had began. I was interested in television production. But, you know, in 1972, all local type video was just coming into its play at that time to be able to record on your own. So we had, you know, an hour program went on a 7-inch video reel, and everything was black and white, you know, for any local stuff that you were doing or home recording at that time.
Okay. When you say video reel, you mean like the big circle? I
mean like a 7-inch audio reel of tape.
Wow.
Full of tape would equal 1 hour of video at that time. So, and for local type productions, there was no color or camera or anything like that. That was way beyond anything. But anyway, I wanted to go into TV production, and our school was presented with that camera and recorder, and we also had cable TV at the same time. And so I was just interested in that. So
coming out of high school?
Coming out of high school. So I went to Ball State University, where I could come back and play at our high school as well.
So you went to college so you could get the basic learning on how to use all these equipments. Yep. And then came back and said,
I would come back in the evenings and help the students there. Nobody knew what we were doing. Cable access television was something totally new. But the instructor we had that started that program, his name was John Schmidt, was so creative. And he was a history teacher. but he loved the idea. He knew there was something there, and I'm telling you, the students started producing basketball games, parades, everything they could do out in the community, and the community supported it in an unbelievable fashion. Local corporations gave money, and it was off and running.
Oh, wow.
So it was someplace then that I could come back to and work when I finished, and that's what I did when I finished school.
It seems like your path was set out of high school. What was it like before you finished high school? Were you interested in video, and how did you get that interest fed?
I was interested in video, but the unique thing is, and I think this is why I love teaching it so much and why I was passionate about our students being involved, is because when I was in high school, there was no place. You went to college and you learned how to run cameras and be a newsman or whatever, and then you had to get a job at a station.
Right.
And that was it.
That's what I think.
You really didn't have opportunities.
Uh-huh.
And most people didn't make it to those places.
Right.
And I probably wouldn't have either, But so our program was available to students, gave them great opportunities, and they began to pop up around the country after that. So we just started it very early.
Mm-hmm. So you went to college and came back. And did you come back with the idea that you were going to teach for the rest of your life, or did you come back saying, I want to play with these toys, and then you ended up staying for 33 years?
I came back, and no, I wouldn't have thought I would have been there. I wanted to go off and do bigger and better things.
Like what? What were some of your ideas?
Oh, I wanted to work in real TV. I wanted to be out there. I wanted to go to California and work in TV.
Sitcoms and things.
Yes. Anything involved in that. I just, there was a lot to be involved in, but I found out that we could do an awfully lot in our small little area. We became very popular. We eventually went from having 15 students in the program to we became magnet school for 5 area school corporations. We had over 100 students a day.
Wow.
In the program, and the community support was tremendous. So it became something of itself. So it was wonderful. Couldn't have asked. I always say I never had to go to work a day in my life. Yep.
You're following your passion.
It's fun. Yes.
Enjoyed it.
Enjoyed every day.
So what was the curriculum like? You're there all day. The student comes in, and what's one of the first things they need to learn besides turning on a camera and not dropping it on the floor?
Well, it was a unique experience, and our students learned right off the bat that they had a lot of responsibility. They were going to learn a lot, but they had a lot of responsibility. We acted as our community's local TV station. That meant we had to produce our own income in order to stay afloat. The school didn't just support it.
Okay.
They gave us the room and paid the insurance and the electric bill and all of that, but the students had to buy the equipment. So they had to be involved with corporate sponsors. They had to be involved with underwriting. So they had to earn the money.
These are high school?
These are high school juniors and seniors, yes.
And they have to work it like a job, like a business, like they are...
Absolutely. We would divide the classes up so that we did Monday through Thursday a half-hour newscast of things going on around the community. A lot of responsibility, and then they had their own shows they would do. The unique thing is, with that responsibility came a lot of freedom and a lot of opportunities. In other words, to get those news stories, our students had prearranged passes between their parents and the school that if we had a fire somewhere in the area, they could, and they were in a study hall, they could come down, use that pass, grab a camera, and they're out the door and they're out shooting that fire.
Chasing the story.
They're chasing the story. They're following the story. They would do interviews with the mayor. And I always said, if a high school student can get comfortable going up and interviewing the mayor of your town, he can go to any job interview someday and feel more confident.
Yeah.
So that's what it was all about. It was all about not necessarily teach students to be broadcasters, although they had a great head start, but it was getting them involved in our community, getting them used to doing things that they will have to do when they go out to work or go to college. Just a great head start.
And build their confidence.
Sure.
Presentation skills.
Sure. Everybody needs their ego stroked a little bit. And students don't get that so much.
No,
they don't get it enough. Right? And I know something you and I had talked about before that I really believe in is that, I was getting older all the time.
All the time.
and video production was getting younger all the time. Seriously, with all the technology.
Yeah.
So I always tried to stay, and even today, I know what's going on in broadcasting, and I know all the computer programs that are being used now. At my age now, can I actually have the artistic ability to make those work? No, but I know what they are and how to do it. I always told our students, you're here to learn the basics. We're here to learn how to do a good news story, how to do a good newscast, how to make a creative ad for somebody, how to, But after those basics, this game changes every day. So then go out, let's learn the rules, and then you can learn how to break them in production. So
Yeah.
The formula is, if you're doing a news program, is to be current. Don't let stories get stale and old. Find things that are newsy, that people want to know about right now, and then go for the human interest side of things as well. And you can. There would be slow news days in a small area like ours. 3 out of 5 days were slow news days, but you can find stories anywhere. And that's where also students who are in a program like the one that we had would learn to be creative. We don't have a news story today. Okay, we have to go make one. Let's find one somewhere. So they're out there searching. So
how do you do that? How do you make a story? How do you create a story? What do you do? Like, you go ask questions?
Yeah, and that's where students could become so creative. If you didn't have a story today, I might ask them something about their family. And 9 times out of 10, you'll find a student whose grandfather was in World War II or did something special, was a driver for Eisenhower during the war. That came up one time, and I said, okay, there's your story right now. Go get it, because I want to hear it myself.
You call that a human interest story?
Sure.
It's not sensationalism. It's not current events. It's just something that's
it's
good
human
to hear,
interest.
to know about. Yeah.
And you know how many other people in your community knew that gentleman, but never knew that he drove a Jeep for Eisenhower. So it's a win-win situation. And our students always love the fact that you talk about an ego builder, that they could go down to the local McDonald's and grab a sandwich, and someone they didn't even know would say, hey, I saw you on TV last night doing that interview with so-and-so. That was really wonderful. Oh, boy, the student come back the next day, and nothing better than that.
Yeah. You know what? It sounds like you were competing for TV time on people's living rooms.
You do. You do in public access. Originally in public, and this is the public access side of it, originally public access was designed as free speech.
Okay.
We get some money and we tell you what we want to tell you. But as money became tighter, public access became a thing that free speech still needs to be protected, but you need to get people to watch your station. You need to be doing something that interests them, that's important to them, that's educational to them, things they want to see, things they want to know about, and they'll support you.
Right.
They'll support you. That's the news was the serious side of it. Then you turn the students loose and you say, okay, you do your own shows. And oh my goodness, over the years, the comedy things they would come up with, the things that happened that went off color that I can't repeat. Now we laugh about them. Back then I got yelled at for them. But the students had fun every day as well. It was hard work, but they learned to enjoy their work.
So did you see many of these students follow career in broadcast or video and film?
Yes, quite a few students did. Yes, working with one was an associate producer of Ellen DeGeneres' show. Now's working on some show. I haven't got to see it. She's working on Marmotte, a program about ultimate tree houses. It's on one of the channels and stuff. So
ultimate tree houses?
Yes,
wow.
Ultimate tree houses. But all kinds of students doing neat things. And the neat thing is, a lot of them have written back in recent years how much the program helped them, whether they were in banking, in sales, or whatever. They remember the program fondly.
Yeah, I think the confidence is the biggest booster right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have to, because as a teen, growing up, you're told to listen to the grown-ups, to shut up, be quiet, unless the grown-up's talking to you. And so it's not easy finding that place where you think you can talk to a grown-up and ask certain questions of them.
Right.
And but if you make that part of your job, or that becomes part of the assignment, then you're thrown out there and you just have to. You just have to do it.
Right.
And you get better at it. I know